Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to make this really cute little amigurumi bear. These are called little baby shower bears because I think they're a really sweet little gift to give to expecting mums. They measure about 2 inches high, about 2 by 2. You can see in relation to the size of my hand, they just fit into my hand like that. They're really easy to make and we're going to be making one in pink, so pink and white, but all you need to begin is I'm using Deramor's DK baby yarn. So this is a light worsted weight yarn in US terms, and I've just got a white for the head and the body. And for this little guy I used some blue Deramor's DK baby yarn, light worsted weight yarn, but for the one we're going to be using a pink DK light worsted weight yarn. So they're the main colours you need, just a white and then an alternative colour which we use for the arms and the legs. Just sewing the little face and also the ears as well. And on top of that you're going to need some toy stuffing. So you just need a little handful here of toy stuffing. You can pick this up from most craft stores. But you can also use scraps of yarn as well to stuff them out, or you can take some stuffing out of an old pillow or something like that. We're going to be using a 3.5mm crochet hook. 3.5. We're going to be using a 3mm crochet hook, but you can use 2.75 or a 3.5. Gauge is not completely essential to this project, but for the sake of this video I'm just going to be showing you the one I used, which is a 3mm crochet hook. And we also need some scissors, obviously, and a yarn needle as normal. And we're also going to be needing a little bit of white felt, which you should also be able to pick up from most craft stores. You really don't need this much. This is obviously how it comes. We're only going to be using a tiny little bit for his nose. And you're also going to need some little eyes as well. And I picked these up from my local yarn store. And these are like little safety eyes. And I got some like little blue ones. Unfortunately they didn't have them in pink, so the little pink guy's gonna have blue eyes as well. But yeah, these just feed through the crochet, and then you put that through on the other side and push it into place. And yeah, so you just need a couple of those, and that's it. So let's begin. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pink DK light worsted weight yarn, and we're going to be working on the arms and the legs, the 4 limbs, and also going to be working on the little ears as well. So these arms and legs are actually all exactly the same pattern, these 4. So all we need to do is I'm going to show you how to do one of them, and then you just need to just copy that and make it another 3 times. Okay, so let's begin. Let's leave them there. Okay, it sits up just nicely. Okay, so the first thing to do is we're going to work 6 single crochet into a magic circle. And if you don't know how to do the magic circle, I will put a link as per usual in the description below to my video on how to do the magic circle in more detail. But I'm just going to do it fairly quickly now. So we're going to work 6 single crochet into a magic circle. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, like so. And then we just pull to tighten as tight as you can to close that little hole, like so. And then we're just going to slip stitch into our first stitch, and of course because we've done the little dummy stitch, our first stitch is really easy to see. So 2, 4, 6. So we're just going to crochet into that first stitch and do a slip stitch. like so. There we go. And all we're going to do now is we're going to work 2 single crochet into each stitch around. So we're not going to chain one or anything now, we're just going to go straight into the next stitch, which is there. And we're just going to do 2 single crochet in the next stitch. That's 1 and 2. And then we're going to do 2 single crochet in the next stitch. 3, 4, and just repeat that round, 2 in the next. Until you have 12 stitches in total. Okay, so 11 and 12. Like so. So by the end of that round you should have 12 stitches, and what we're going to do now is we're going to do 4 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so that's just 12 stitches. So we go straight into the next stitch, just check you've got 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So we go straight into the next stitch with just 1 single crochet. And then just do 1 single crochet each stitch around. 3. And we're going to do 4 rounds of this, of doing 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So I'll do that and then I'll come back. Okay, so I'm just going up to the last stitch. 12. And there we go, and that's what it looks like after you've done 4 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and there's no joining at the end of each round, you're just literally just carrying on round and round and round in a spiral. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go on to round 7, and we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together and repeat that round until we end up with 6 stitches again like we did in the beginning. So we go straight into our next stitch, grab our yarn, and then straight into our next stitch, grab our yarn, so we've got 3 loops, and then just yarn over and pull through all 3 loops for our single crochet 2 together. So we're just going to repeat that around for all 12 stitches. So that's 3 and 4. 5 and 6. 11 and 12. And there we go. Then what I do is I just pull up a bit of yarn so we don't lose it, and then I open the gap a little bit with the end of my crochet hook, like so, and just work out the shape a little bit with your crochet hook. And what we're actually going to do now is we're going to stuff our little paw next. So we're going to get some toy stuffing, and you don't need much at all, probably even need less than that, so a tiny little bit amount like that. You can use scrap yarn that you've got lying around. It's always good to hold on to a bit of leftover yarn for if you ever do little toys and stuff. Save on buying toy stuffing, but I actually don't have any. Can you believe such a thing? So I'm using some toy stuffing that I have. So we just shove that inside. And you want it fairly squishy. Just make sure that's well shaped. And what we're actually going to do now is we're going to cut our yarn. And you want to leave a fair length just to close up the end of your little limb, but also to sew onto the body as well when you're ready. So leave a fair length of yarn. And what we're actually going to do now is we're going to thread the end of this yarn into our yarn needle, because it gets way too fiddly to crochet it closed. So yeah, what we need to do first is actually pull that yarn through. So we're actually making sure that's knotted. I'll show you that again when I did that in case you didn't quite catch that bit. But just make sure your stuffing's on the inside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the next stitch. Find out where that stitch starts. I'm just going to go into the next stitch and then out through the next stitch, like so. And we're just going to pull that closed, almost like a sort of a tie wrap bag, a drawstring bag rather. What am I talking about? When I'm concentrating. And just do that for the remaining stitches, going into the next one and out for the next, and get it until it just drawstrings close the end of your limb, like so. And you don't need to cut that, the remainder of the yarn. We're actually going to use that to sew that onto our body. So all you need to do now is repeat that another 3 times until you've got 4 limbs, like so. Okay, so what we're going to work on now is we're going to work on the ears, and the ears are really, really easy to do. And all you need to do is just work 8 double crochet into a magic circle. Obviously, like I said, if you're not au fait with the magic circle, then do have a look at my video tutorial on how to do the magic circle, because I think it's a really useful technique to learn, and I actually find it a lot easier to use personally. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to create our little dummy stitch to start in our magic circle. Like so. And then to do a double crochet into a magic circle is we do yarn over first, and then we go through the loop and grab our yarn. So we've got our normal 3 loops on our hook, and then we do yarn over through the first 2, then yarn over through the second 2, just like a normal double crochet. So instead of just going through the loop straight away to do our single crochet, we just do yarn over first and then go through our loop, making sure to keep your yarn that side of your work. Grab a yarn, bring it up, keeping it all to the left, then yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2 like a normal double crochet, like so, and that's 2. So we're going to do another 6 of those to get 8. So yarn over, making sure your yarn stays this side. Push your work down on your hook as well. Keep your yarn to the left, yarn over, pull through 2, and just do your double crochet as normal. And that's 3. Yarn over, go through the loop, grab a yarn, keeping everything to the left, yarn over and do your double crochet as normal. And obviously once you've got a few, you can just pull in the loop a little bit and then work your single crochets into that loop. Becomes a little bit easier. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, like so. And then just pull the tail end so it's tight, and you basically end up with what looks like a little orange slice. It's like just a half circle. And again, what we're actually going to do is you're just going to finish off with a slip stitch through the same middle hole again. So yarn over, pull through, and then just slip stitch up like so. And we're going to cut our end of our yarn and leave a fair amount of tail just to sew onto the head. Pull the yarn up like we did when we were pulling the yarn out for the little limb, and there we go. And there we have one of our ears. Okay, so what you want to do now is make just another one of those. So you've got 2 little ears. Okay, so we're going to work on the head now, and with the head we're going to be using our white DK light worsted weight yarn. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with 10 single crochet in a magic circle. So everything's starting off pretty much a similar way with a magic circle. So just work 10 single crochet into a magic circle. 1, 2, 9 and 10, like so, and then just make sure they're all facing in the right direction, and then use your tail yarn to pull it tight. Close that hole as small as you can, and then we're just going to slip stitch into our first stitch. Okay, let's just slip stitch that, just pull that hole tight again, and then we're going to work 2 single crochet into the next stitch. So it's 1 and 2, and just repeat that around, doing 2 single crochet in each stitch around until you've doubled up your stitches and you've gone from 10 to 20. So that's just 2 single crochet into each stitch around. So that's 19 and 20, like so, until you've got 20 stitches. Again, just making sure that hole is as small as possible. Didn't seem to want to get any smaller. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to work 1 single crochet in our next stitch. So we just go straight into the next stitch. But then we're going to work our increase of 2 single crochet in the next stitch. So that's 1 and 2, like so. And the next stitch we're just going to do 1 single crochet by itself, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet again in the next stitch. So basically just repeat that around. So we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochet in the next stitch, until you have 30 stitches in total. Okay, so I'm just coming up to just doing the very last stitch, stitch 30. There we go. And by the end of that round you should have 30 stitches. And all we're going to do now is we're going to do our 1 single crochet in each stitch around like we did for the limb, just like this one, to create our length. And we're going to do that for 7 rounds. So that's going to be round 4 to 10 of just doing 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So you just go straight into the next stitch. Like there, 1, and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and just literally just keep going round and round and round and round until you've done another 7 rounds of just 1 single crochet, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I've just come to the end of round 10. So that was just doing the 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and I've done that for 7 rounds, just going round and round and round. And what we're going to do now is we're actually just going to do a little bit of decreasing before we put the eyes in. And we've got 30 stitches still, so we're just going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, like so, and then we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together. So that's 1 and 2, like so. And then we're going to repeat that around, so we're going to do 1 single crochet by itself, and then we're going to do single crochet 2 together, like so. And just repeat the same pattern around until you end up with 20 stitches. So that's 1 single crochet, and then single crochet 2 together, So I'll just do that and then I'll come back. Okay, so we're just going to do 28 by itself, and then 29 and 30 crochet together to complete that round, like so. I'm just going to pull up the yarn a little bit so we don't lose our stitch, and you can always just poke your tail yarn on the inside. I've been doing that on the limbs as well. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure the end of our round is at the back. So we've got the nice neat front here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our eyes that we showed you earlier, and you want to count up from about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just above row 7, because you're still going to do a couple of rows just to close him up, is so just above, between rows 7 and 8, just poke it through one of the stitches onto the inside, like so. And then you take your safety clasp thing, make sure that's gone through properly, and just pop that on the end like so, and just push it down until your little eye is nice and tight. I mean, alternatively, if you can't get little eyes like this, you can just sew eyes on with just some black yarn if you want to. Now the trick is with amigurumi is you want to make sure that the eyes are fairly spaced quite far apart. So if you can see here, we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 stitches in between his eyes. So we're just going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So quite far over. Then making sure we poke it through the same row, so they're level, like so. And just before you put the back on, just make sure you're happy with that. Looks a little bit lower, doesn't it, on that side? So we'll just bump him up a bit, put the backing on, and obviously because you've worked in the round in a spiral, the rounds aren't going to line up perfectly, so just push him up a little bit that side and tuck him into place, and there we go, looking a bit more level. And there we have it. So and what we're going to do now is we're actually going to work on his, oops, sorry bear, we're actually going to work on his little mouth here. Now you don't have to use the felt, you can just sew a little mouth on if you want to, but I thought it added a more amigurumi effect to the bear. So just making sure your eyes are on firmly. You need to take some felt. Now you can use, if you can get a light pink or a light blue, basically the other colour that you're using other than white, if you can get a felt in the same colour, you can always use white yarn to sew a little mouth, and that will also look nice, very colour coordinated. But I only unfortunately have white, so I just cut out a little square like so, and then I'm just going to fold it in half. Which way is better? Fold it in half like so, and I'm going to cut a half circle like so, and obviously that's not perfect, it never is. So I'm just going to neaten it off to make it more circle-like, like so, and I've just neatened that a little bit off camera as well. It's still a little bit sticking out there, so I'm just going to trim that very quickly. There we go. I'm a perfectionist, that's my problem. Okay, so this is going to be the top, where it's still open, that's going to be the top. So what we want to do is we're going to sew his little nose and mouth, as it were, onto the face. So just make sure that's fairly central, and then friction should just keep that in place. And then we're going to take some of the yarn, the opposite colour yarn that we're using, in this case it's pink, and cut a short length of that, and taking your yarn needle, so we've just got a short length of yarn, just taking your yarn needle, and what I do actually first is we want to start about here, so actually make a hole from this side first, like so, so that when I come round from the back, because you want to start from the inside, you've got a guide to work to, and just come through like that, and leave a little length on the inside, so we'll tie it when we're finished. And then you want to go straight down, making sure it's straight. Okay, so you want to go straight down by, so just past the middle and back through to the inside, like so. So it's like a little button at the moment. Okay. And what we're going to do then is we're going to come up from the other side. I want to go to the other side, about pretty central in the middle. Actually, we'll do a little trick again, and we'll do a little mark of where we want these stitches to be, to give us a guide. There we go. So that took so long. Just bring that back through, like so, and then just go back down through that same bit there to the back, like so, and then we do the same for the other side, so making sure that you've got it level. This bit is very fiddly with the camera in front of you. I do like to share these projects now. So come through the other side, and then again just back through that same central hole to the middle. And what this does, it sews your little mouth on, but it also keeps the felt in place. You can choose to glue it on if you want to, but I find the little stitches work quite well. And there we go. If you can see that on camera, if I bring it a bit closer. Looks almost white in this light. But there we go, just a little very simple effect. And then all we're going to do is, on the inside, is we get our two tail end pieces of pink, and just tie them in a little knot just to keep them in place, like so. Just do a little double knot. Like so, and then you can just stuff any remaining yarn on the inside. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to stuff our little face with some more toy stuffing or scraps of yarn. And so we're going to need probably about that much. And obviously if you're using toy stuffing, it's always good to separate it first to work out any lumps, like so. And just pop that inside. Looks like he's got crazy hair. or she has rather, because she's pink. Okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to close up the head. So we put our, going to the back again, we put our hook back through our loop, and this time we're going to just single crochet 2 stitches together, and we're going to do that all the way around. So straight into the next stitch, straight into the next stitch, single crochet 2 together, and do the same for the next 2 and the next 2 until you're left with 10 stitches, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I'm just going up to the last 2, 19 and 20. Like so. And we've still got 10 stitches left, so we're just going to single crochet those stitches together as well. Single crochet 2 stitches together as you go around, so just carry on. So that's 1 and 2. One, 2. 3, 4. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the last 2, 9 and 10. And that should leave you with 5 stitches at the end, which is small enough just to close up, slip stitch closed. So just cut a length of yarn, and then we just want to pull that yarn through, so just pull until one of the yarn ends moves. There we go. So you're left with that, and then take your yarn needle, and like we did for the limbs, we just go into the next stitch and then out through the following stitch, and we just drawstring it closed. Like so, until we close up that little hole. You can always do a couple of free stitches at the end as well. Okay, and when you're happy with that, just shape your little face like so. You can see she's coming along nicely. And then what I do for hiding all my tail ends, the ones we need to hide on the inside, is I just do couple of stitches. I just poke through near to where the stitch is and just come out anywhere you want really on the head, like so. And don't pull too tightly because it will pull in the top, so just do it gently, and then just go through again over to somewhere else, preferably on the bottom because that's where it's going to be joining the body, so all stitches will be hidden. So just pull that gently through, and then what I do is I just push down slightly on the project and then pulling that tool, just cut, and then you'll find that the tail end just pops onto the inside. So brilliant trick. Okay, so there's the head finished, and now we're going to work on the body. Okay, so for the body, it's starting pretty much the same way as usual. Is we're going to do 10 single crochet in a magic circle, so it starts off the same as the head. So we do a little dummy stitch, like so. And we'll do 10 single crochet. So it's 1, 2, 10. Like so, and then we just pull our tail end tight, as tight as we can, and making sure all our stitches are facing the same direction. And then we slip stitch into our first stitch, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 and 10. like so. Okay, and then just make sure that hole is as small as possible. You'll find it frequently comes back over every so often, so to make sure it's tight. Okay, so then we're going to do our increases of 2 single crochet into each stitch around. So then we will come from 10 stitches, and we're doubling up to get 20. So we go straight into our next stitch. Like so. And then we do 2 in that stitch. Then we do 2 in the next stitch. And we just repeat that round, doing 2 single crochet in each stitch around until you have 20 stitches. Okay, so we've got 20 stitches by the end of that round, and then for rounds 3 to 8 we're just going to do our 1 single crochet in each stitch around, just like we have for the head and the limbs, and to create our length. So you want to do six rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Okay, so we just come to the end of that round and we've done 6 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So you should still have 20 stitches by the end of that round. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to do single crochet 2 stitches together until we end up with 10 stitches again. So we go straight into the next stitch and straight into the next stitch. Grab our yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And we're just going to repeat that round, so just single crocheting 2 stitches together until we end up with 10 stitches. Okay, just coming up to the last 2, 19 and 20. Oops. Okay, so we should have 10 stitches by the end of that round, so we're just going to bring that up, and what we're actually going to do now is we're going to sew our arms and our legs onto the body, and then we're going to stuff it. So let's just get our limbs. Okay, so by now you should have 4 of these little balls, as it were, and we're going to use 2 for the arms and 2 for the legs, obviously. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to sew them on our just unfinished body part. So we'll just take one of these, and what we're actually going to do is just thread our yarn onto our yarn needle, and what we're actually going to do is, rather than sew it on at that angle, we're actually going to sew it on at that angle. So if we make sure that the end of the round is at the back, like so, and we'll just, first off, we'll just go in at the side, like so, and then just pinch it flat and keep it in place. We're just going to work a few stitches into our little arm, just holding that into place and going back in onto the inside, like so. So we'll just do a few stitches, make sure that arm is firmly in place, and just making sure it's sort of facing forward. As you can see on this one here, they face slightly forward. Obviously they'll spring back a little bit. Like so. So just keep repeating that, coming in up from the inside. Like so. See that coming into action like that. So we're just going to sew a few more stitches on there, just making sure that's really snugly against the body, and then we're going to repeat that for the other side as well, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I've just sewn on the other arm as well, just making sure they're facing slightly forward, and just making sure not to sew into these top stitches, because obviously you still want to be able to crochet them for the next round when we close up the body. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sew on the little feet, so that's just the other two, and we're just going to do these slightly to the side on the corner, and again making sure to sew the sort of flatten it a little bit and just make sure it's at the side, and then just sew, you can sew in and out from the inside like so. So I'm just going to sew those two on, and then we'll come back and I'll show you those. Okay, so I just finished sewing on the feet, so they're facing forward as well, and all you need to do now is just hide all your tail ends on the inside like so. Just adds a bit of extra stuffing, and then we're going to take some toy stuffing. Just make sure we break it up a little bit, just make it softer, and then we're just going to stuff the body. So don't need a huge amount, but you want the body to be fairly firm. So push that down. Probably afford to put in a tiny bit more. Just pop that in. Like so. And all we're going to do then is we're going to single crochet the top of the body closed, and then we're just going to slip stitch any remaining gap, just exactly the same as we've done for all the other bits and pieces. So we'll just go into the next stitch. Okay, so we just slip stitched that, well, just sewn it so the remaining gap closed. There's our body, so all we need to do now is, you can see it coming together, and we're just going to work on the ears. So I'm just going to add the ears and we'll come back. Okay, so we've got our two little ears that we made earlier, and the important thing is to get the tail ends, which we're going to sew onto our head, in the right position, so he doesn't end up looking like a mouse and looks more bear-like. So all you need to do is to make sure that one of your yarn ends is near to the edge, this end of the ear, and at the front of the ear. So you've got the right side, that's the wrong side, so it's the right side, like so. And just make sure that's like so, so it's towards the end and at the front. And then the other piece, I'm just going to sew a few little stitches along, and like so. There we go. And then, as you can see, that's at the other edge and at the front as well. And just repeat that for the other side as well. And then that just means that the ear tail end pieces are in the correct position for sewing on. You can sew one in at the top there and one in at the bottom. I mean, you may prefer to sew the ears on before you stuff the head, but what I do is I just sew that through, come back up a couple of times just to connect it on better, and then sew that through, come up back to the ear and connect it a bit more neatly, and then just hide your end pieces inside the head as we did for the for some of the other pieces. So I'm just going to sew those on, and then I'll come back, and you just need to make sure that the ears are quite far back actually. As you can see on the top here, they're just behind the centre of the head, towards the back of the head, and they start fairly level with the top of the head as well. So try and bear that in mind when you sew the ears on, and make sure you don't curve them up too much like that, otherwise he ends up looking more like a mouse than a bear, so we want them quite flat and semicircular in shape. Okay, so I'm just going to do that with our little pink bear, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've sewn both of those ears on, and all I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew the head onto the body, and I've actually made a bit of a boo-boo because I've actually tied in the body tail and I've tied in the head tail. This is actually from one of the ears, so I'm going to use the ear tail to actually connect it now. But yeah, try and leave a long tail either from the head or the body so you can actually sew them together. But I'm just going to sew that on and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've just finished sewing the head to the body, and yeah, and our little bear is complete. It actually looks slightly different to the blue one as well, so it's quite cute that they each have their own character and stuff. And all that's left to do now is to accessorise, really. So I'm going to bring in my box of treats. I really do love this box. Got some little bows. Oh, I've got some ribbon. Let's see if I can find a little bit of ribbon. That's quite nice. So I could either add this little girl, she could either have a little bow in her hair. Or I think what I might do to make it look like the little blue one is just give her a little ribbon around her neck. Like so. Just tighten the bow. Make that a bit smaller. I'll just trim the ends. There we go. And there she's done. Got a little bow. It's probably quite a big bow actually. Better off getting a little thinner bit of ribbon like this little fellow here. But there you go. I hope you've enjoyed my little tutorial on how to make a little amigurumi bear. And if you'd like to find some more patterns from HappyBerry Crochet, then please pop along to facebook.com/HappyBerry Crochet, or go to my website at www.happyberry.co.uk, and hopefully I'll see you soon for some more crochet videos. Okay, bye! They're really easy to make. I'll go through the blah 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 blah. Stop. 1, 2